Delicious. Hi, Tom Spellman here with Dave Wilson Nursery. It's a beautiful mid-April morning here in the San Joaquin Valley, and we just thought we'd take a few minutes and walk through our young test orchard here. First of all, we're going to look at a couple of our espaliers, a couple of my favorite trees in the orchard here. One of them is this Flavor Delight Apium, and you can see we've got a really nice fruit set on it. Michael Tomlinson has already been out here and done some thinning on it. I think he did a fine job. One of the things you always want to consider with early ripening varieties that ripen up in May or June or even early July, is thinning on those is much more important than on later varieties. These have a minimal amount of time on the tree to ripen up and size up. So on the early ripening varieties, you definitely need to thin more aggressively. So I think he did a good job. You know, the average fruit here are probably 1 or 2 fruit on a branch. There might be a couple spots where there's a little bit too many, but the tree's very stable. It's well supported by the wire system, and I think it's able to hold quite effectively the fruit that's on there now. I think what I will do is just a little bit of pinching. We've got 18 inches or so worth of new growth, and I want to try and maintain form on this tree. I'm not going to do a lot now. It's early. We've got plenty of time to do more structural work. I just want to kind of get it in balance. I don't want it growing out into the aisleway, so I want to keep it in check a little bit so that we keep our pathway clear through here. Maybe just a little bit off the top. Remember what we said about maintaining backyard orchard style is, you know, choose a size and stick with it. Never let the tree become any larger than your chosen size. Well, this is our chosen size, so anything that comes up at this point, we can certainly remove. There, 2 minutes worth of work. I think the tree's nice and well balanced. We didn't really open up a whole lot of growth where there's fruit. I didn't want to expose the fruit anymore. I just wanted to keep the variety in check so that we don't have a whole lot of growth coming out of balance here. So we'll look at this one again in the summer. Here's our second espalier we're going to look at today. This is one of my favorites, again, burgundy plum. It's very well balanced. It's in check. There's not a whole lot of vigor on it. Really don't need to do much of anything, but just make a couple of cuts. Just look for areas where the fruit might be too thick. This is what you want to look for, clustered areas like this. Here's 15 fruit in a very short amount of space. Even though it's already been thinned once, we probably want to do this again. And remember, you can hold more fruit close to a large branch or a supported branch than you can out here on the tips. So always thin from the tip back in. So I can take off that fruit, and then I can take off some here, but leave enough so that we'll get a good fruit set or have a good fruit harvest. So there where we had about 12 or 15, now I'm down to 6. See, and the nice thing about burgundy plum is, as opposed to our Flavor Delight Apium, burgundy plum is going to ripen up in August. So we've got plenty of time to size up fruit on the burgundy plum. I can leave more fruit on this tree and expect better size than I would on that Flavor Delight Apium. So the later it hangs on the tree, the more fruit you can leave on. But I still want to make sure that that fruit set is in check. We don't have too much. You can look on the ground at the fruit that we've already thinned off. There's probably 50% of the fruit that's already been dropped off the tree, and there's still areas here where it's still thick. Here's 3 fruit in 4 inches, so we could certainly take one of those off. The thing you always want to remember in thinning is you're never going to effectively thin your tree the first time around. Nobody ever does. We all come out, we do some work. You come back in 2 or 3 days and look at it again, do the same thing again. Come back in another week and look at it again, do the same thing again. After about 3 thinnings, you'll probably get it to the point where you want it to be. So don't be afraid to thin if you want good quality fruit and fruit size.